Ryan Walters, the head of Oklahoma schools, tweets this out. Any suggestion that a device of mine was used to stream inappropriate content on the television set is categorically false. You know, when a MAGA superintendent of a state's schools tweets something like this, something went terribly wrong. I saw this tweet and I wanted to know what happened. So let's talk about it. Let me just read the rest of the tweet. As I lead the charge for a bold overhaul of education in Oklahoma, putting parents back in control, rejecting radical agendas, and demanding excellence, it's no surprise to face politically motivated attacks. Any suggestion that a device of mine was used to stream inappropriate content on the television set is categorically false. It wasn't false. I have no knowledge of what was on the TV screen during the alleged incident, and there's absolutely no truth to any implication of wrongdoing. There is. These falsehoods are the desperate tactics of a broken establishment afraid of real change. They aren't just attacking me, they're attacking the values of the Oklahomans who elected me to challenge the status quo. I could be wrong, but I think that he was elected by a board. He wasn't elected by Oklahomans. Anyway, aside from that, what he said here about like rejecting radical agendas and all that, he is one of the most extreme people in the United States. And I don't say that lightly. Certainly one of the most extreme politicians. He is a full-blown Christian nationalist that is out of his head and vile and evil. And we'll talk about that a little bit, but first let's talk about what happened. Okay, this is a Rolling Stone article on the subject. Oklahoma's Trump-loving, Bible-thumping superintendent faces adult entertainment probe. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, if you've heard of this story, he's the guy that wrote a very nuanced, specific order, I guess, as superintendent that basically commands the school districts, like all of Oklahoma schools, to purchase Trump Bibles. Couldn't be any other type. It had to be Trump ones. And he didn't say Trump specifically, but he said leather bound, with the Constitution and Declaration of Independence at the front of the Bible and all these other very specific things that only applied to Trump's. Anyway, that's him. So let's read this. An investigation is underway in Oklahoma after a television screen in the MAGA state school superintendent's office reportedly showed a video of nude women during an executive session of the State Board of Education on Thursday. Oop, just picked a whole bouquet of oopsie daisies, didn't he? The images reportedly appeared on a screen in the office of Ryan Walters, Oklahoma's far-right superintendent of public instruction. Walters previously told schools to teach the Bible and 10 Commandments, demanded students watch him pray for Donald Trump, and demanded is like an understatement, like forced students to watch him pray. It wasn't a demand. He was forcing them to. Forced students to watch him pray for Donald Trump, and I have that video, and named transphobe Chaya Raichik to a state education committee. He also tried to use state money to purchase Bibles for classrooms that matched the specifics of those marketed by the president and his family. As you might expect, Walters has led a crusade against adult entertainment in school libraries. Two members of the Oklahoma Board of Education said they were shocked at what they saw on the screen on Thursday. Quote, I was like, those are naked women, board member Becky Carson told the Oklahoman. And then I was like, no, wait a minute. Those aren't naked. Surely those aren't naked women. Something is playing a trick on my eye. Maybe they just have on tan bodysuits. This is just really bizarre. I saw them just walking across the screen and I'm like, no. I'm sorry I even have to use the language, but I'm like, those are her nipples. And then I'm like, that's, okay, I can't use some of this language because of YouTube. That's hair. What in the world am I watching? I didn't want to watch any longer. Carson told Walters to turn off the video. I was so disturbed by it that I was like very loudly and boastfully, like I was a parent or a teacher. I said, what is on your TV? What am I watching? And he was like, what? What are you talking about? Oh, just imagine the scene for a moment with me. Oh my God, that's crazy. And he was like, what? What are you talking about? Like a kid that just got caught looking at magazines or something. He stood up and saw it. He made acknowledgement that he saw it, Carson said, according to Non-Doc Media, an Oklahoma news website. And I said, turn it off now. And he was like, what is this? What is this? Of course, yeah, okay, I bet. So he acknowledged it was inappropriate just by those words. And he was like, I can't get it to turn off. I can't figure out how to turn it off. And I said, get it turned off. So he finally got it turned off. Okay. I would never find myself in this situation because I'm not a complete sack of that is absolutely worthless. But if I did find myself in that situation, I would have literally just pulled the TV right out of the wall. Like, I don't even care. It's so important to not play adult entertainment in front of boardrooms or children or whatever. Oh my God, dude. He was like, I can't get it to turn off. I can't figure out how to turn it off. And I said, get it turned off. So he finally got it turned off. And that was the end of it. He didn't address it. He didn't apologize. Nothing was said. Oh my God, dude. Carson and board member Ryan Detheridge said the video looked retro and did not involve sexual intercourse. What? Retro video didn't involve? Okay. Are you trying to tell me that you were just watching the Dukes of Hazzard or something? And the Dukes of Hazzard from like the 70s just have naked chicks walking around? You think that's what he was watching? The Dukes of Hazzard? Okay. Republican state president pro tempore Lonnie Paxton told Oklahoma Voice that the Office of Management and Enterprise Services is carrying out an investigation into the incident. Quote, this is a bizarre and troubling situation that raises serious questions about the events and what took place during yesterday's executive session at the Oklahoma State Board of Education meeting, Paxton said in a statement. The account made public by board members paint a strange, unsettling scene that demands clarity and transparency. So I could be mistaken, but I think that this is Ryan Walters' office and his TV and his phone connected to the TV, like airplaying it. And if I had to guess, I would say he didn't want to pick up his own phone to validate that that's where the signal was coming from. And that's why he didn't know how to turn it off. How do you turn it off without turning off the source? Wow, dude. I'm sorry. This is so deeply entertaining to me. I hope that there were no children there, in all seriousness. I hope it was just adults who can hold him responsible. Walters said the claims were a distraction. Yeah, a distraction, absolutely. Some of these board members are blatantly dishonest and cannot hide their political agenda, Walters told KOKH Fox 25. It's disappointing that they're more interested in creating distractions than getting work done for Oklahoma families. He is the biggest scumbag on planet Earth, dude, really. Oh my God. Walters' communications director, Quentin Hitchcock, calls the story a junk tabloid lie. Quote, regardless of if recent allegations are true, Oklahomans are in dire need of new leadership at the Oklahoma State Department of Education, Oklahoma's House Democratic leader Cindy Munson told KOKH Fox 25. Let me tell you something about Ryan Walters, okay? Let me just pull this up real fast. Hold on. Okay, this is Ryan Walters. This is who he is. While this is happening in his school, this is a real picture from Oklahoma schools that he didn't address, by the way. Everybody else addressed it, but he pretended it didn't happen. 6 students standing in a line spelling out the N-word. And what was Ryan Walters doing rather than addressing this? Saying this.
And they actually prefer to push books like the Constitution and the Bible out of our schools while injecting books like Genderqueer and Flamer. It's outrageous.
It's just a lie. He's just completely fabricating this.
They are Marxists at their core. That is their fundamental principles in which that guides them.
Who is they? Are they in the room with us right now?
And we are tired of them intimidating teachers, fighting school choice, and fighting parents. And we are absolutely going to fight back here.
Here's another one. Check this out.
You get school board members that are more concerned with being woke, more concerned with these radical sexual revolutionaries and plugging them into schools than they are actual academics. And so what we've called on, I've been really clear, this principal should be fired immediately. We've already seen this principal has hired another drag queen.
Oh, yeah. This is when he claimed that there was a drag queen principal in one of the Oklahoma schools. But conveniently, he wouldn't name the person. He wouldn't tell us what school districts they were even in. Nobody ever identified a drag queen. He was just looking for a reason to hate somebody who's pointing. This is a distraction right here. You want to talk about distractions? And as I said, with the, students spelling out the N-word, complete radio silence on that. Literal fictitious nonsense. And that's all he talks about. Drag queen principles and everything. All the while, Oklahoma's ranking is between 47th and 48th place in core academic testing. They are ranked number, at best, 47 out of 50 states. And this is what he's focused on. Oh, that, and I guess pressing the power button on a TV during, board meetings or whatever. I guess he's focused on that too.
Work underneath him at the school.
Wow.
This has to be rooted out immediately.
We always do talk about how the left is infiltrating the schools. And I'm so glad that you said even in red states, because people, in places like Oklahoma may feel like they are immune to this. You have called for his dismissal. But
whose dismissal? Nobody's. There is no quote unquote drag queen in their schools.
the district is opposing you. They're dragging their high heels, so to speak. What can be done? What can you do, or what can the parents do?
Well, what we've done is we've been putting tremendous pressure on the school board, on the superintendent. Parents have been showing up at the school board meeting. This school board has to act immediately. We have moral
What school board? What school board?
turpitude clause in our teachers' contracts, because what we
I'm sorry. Yeah, I kind of cut it off there. He said we have a moral turpitude clause, i.e., you must be a moral religious person to work in Oklahoma schools. I think that's illegal, and I don't even know if there is such a thing in their contract. I don't know, but you can bet it but you can bet if it's there, he's going to try to enforce his morality on you and everybody around you. Unless you're spelling the N-word, then he doesn't care.
teachers' contracts, because what we've got to do is we have to put parents in a place where they feel like their school districts are actually focused on academics. This is about, do you trust your kids in schools? And this is why you see so many parents around the country that say, I don't. I do have real concerns. Well, in Oklahoma, we're going to fight back on this. We see Joe Biden pushing these type of policies. They
Yeah, this is from 2023.
want this gender theory in our schools.
What are you even talking about? There is no gender theory in K-12 schools. That's like a college level course, and only for certain majors where it's relevant, like psychology and stuff. It's just delusion. No, that's giving him too much credit. It's not delusion. He knows exactly what he's doing.
We've seen George Soros for years fund school board elections. It's time for conservatives and parents to take your school boards back.
George Soros is the problem, not Elon Musk, or not Rupert Murdoch, or the Koch brothers, or any of the others, but it's George Soros, some dude that's been retired for like, who knows how long, isn't even involved in anything anymore. And when he was, he was funding elections. I'm not a fan of that. It was Democratic elections, I'll give him that. But you notice that all of the thing that they do is always about left-wing billionaires funding things and never billionaires funding things.
Take your schools back. We are going to continue to do this in Oklahoma. I'm not going to allow a drag queen to run a school here in Oklahoma. We are going to fix this problem, and we're going to move on into making sure that this doesn't happen again.
What a colossal scumbag, dude, really. And here's one more from him.
We're going to make an important announcement today regarding the Bible and the Ten Commandments.
By the way, some of the stuff that he's done, it made it all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court rejected it. They said that's too extreme. For real. That was not too long ago. It was like a couple months ago, I think. He tried to, I believe, force teachers to teach from the Bible in every single class. So like math class, if Abraham has like 3 kids with Sarah or something, then how many people are in the family? Like that level. Seriously.
Staff has been looking at Oklahoma statute. We've been looking at Oklahoma academic standards. And it's crystal clear to us that in the Oklahoma academic standards, under Title 70, multiple occasions. The Bible is a necessary historical document to teach our kids about the history of this country.
It's not a historical document relevant to the founding of the country at all. And that was very intentional. Like I said, his little attempt here failed, so.
To have a complete understanding of Western civilization, to have an understanding of the basis of our legal system, and is frankly, when we're talking about the Bible, one of the most foundational documents used for the Constitution and the birth of our country.
It's just a lie. This is a fictitious lie. We are a secular constitution. John Adams actually wrote religious into the Constitution in its early drafts, and they created new drafts of the Constitution, wrinkling his up and throwing it behind him because they didn't want that. They did not want a religious country. People had just fled areas where they were under religious rule, and they wanted to be able to make their own decisions for their religious beliefs. That is why we are a non-religious country.
We also find major points in history that refer to the Bible. We see multiple figures, whether we're talking about the Federalist Papers, constitutional conventional arguments, and Martin Luther King Jr., who use it as a tremendous impetus for the civil rights movement and tie many of those arguments back to the Bible.
Dude, I love that he is talking about Martin Luther King Jr. as if he gives a shit about him when we happen to know that this is happening right here. If you're in the listening audience, I pulled up the picture of these students spelling out the N-word again. When we happen to know that he didn't do a damn thing about this. And also, we happen to know that he instructed history teachers in the state to not tie the Oklahoma race massacre to race. The Tulsa race massacre, where there was this, what they called Black Wall Street, this little district in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I think, where the black community had built up a bunch of businesses and they were prospering, and the KKK came in and burned it all to the ground, everything, because they didn't want black people to prosper, presumably. He said, we can't bring race into that at all. We can't bring up race in any way. It was just a bunch of people attacking a bunch of other people. That's it. He's a colossal piece of shit. So when I read things like this right here, I was like, those are naked women. And then I was like, no, wait a minute. Those aren't naked. Surely those aren't naked women. When I read them saying things like, I was so disturbed by it, I was like very loudly and boastfully, like I was a parent or a teacher. I said, what's on your TV? What am I watching? It warms my heart to know that this colossal sack of shit is getting what's coming to him, which is to say public scrutiny. And I hope people can actually hold him accountable. He was probably tearing his hair out, walking in circles, figuring out how he was going to get this to stop playing without touching his own phone. Oh, I love it, bro. That's great. Anyway, okay, let's continue reading here. If no wrongdoing occurred, a prompt and transparent review should quickly clear his name, said Speaker Kyle Hilbert. I urge the state superintendent to unlock and turn over all relevant devices and fully cooperate with an investigation. Absolutely. Love it. Fantastic idea. Give us your phone. Give us your phone. We'll just kind of take a quick gander through. We won't even pay any attention to the terrorist groups that you're in communication with right now. We only want to see if you're looking at adult entertainment that very clearly played on a school TV. Edmond Public Schools not only allows kids to access adult entertainment in schools, they're doubling down to keep adult entertainment on the bookshelves, Walters said in a statement. Parents and kids should have the confidence of going to schools to learn. Instead of focusing on education, EPS has chosen to peddle adult entertainment and is leading the charge to undermine parents in Oklahoma. When the dude is guilty of playing adult entertainment on a school television, he turns around and says, the left wants to show adult entertainment to children. I don't get it. How can anybody get away with this? This is nuts. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. That is just wild, bro.